you make kiddush. Okay? Some people have the minhag, it tends to be the Yankees, the Polish Jews that have the German Jews, who have the minhag, the German Jews who have the minhag to wash before kiddush. Right? A lot of people have this minhag. In general, on the average, again, Friday night, Shabbos day, you would wash, then make kiddush, then make motzi. You don't do that on Pesach. The reason is because there's a long break. And we are concerned that because there's going to be a long break because of karpas, yachatz, magid, right, you're going to end up, your hands are going to wander and they'll, touch wherever, and you're going to end up, having to wash your hands again anyway. So I'm checking the time. But, so in order to avoid those issues, so don't wash in advance. That's why we'll wash again later. Okay? You drink in the reclined position, and you don't say a bracha achrona. You don't say the bracha of al hagefen afterwards because it's the start of the meal. Okay? The head of the household. There are different customs, whether it's the head of the household or all adult males or all married males or whatever. Okay? The head of the household is then brought a plate with 3 matzos, and the plate on top of it that includes maror, charoses, that's that stuff that you dip the maror into, karpas, which we'll get to in a minute, or some other vegetable, vinegar or salt water, 2 cooked items. One is generally an egg, one is generally a shank bone. Okay? Not everybody needs this arrangement, just the head of the household. The karpas should be something other than maror. It should not be the same exact, vegetable. And this is done, the reason we bring this plate out is in order to pique the interest of the children, because that's not normal. Right? You don't, on a Friday night, you don't take your 2 loaves of bread, your 2 challahs, stick a plate on top of them with all these other fancy assortments on that. It's not generally done. So the child will see this and go, hey, what's up? Right? Whatever language the child will say that in. But the child will ask, and that's the whole point of the Pesach Seder, to get the children asking. Because if the child asks, then you answer. Because the whole mitzvah of the night is what's called v'higadata levincha. And you will tell it to your children. That is the mitzvah. That's why the portion is called magid, because it's the telling. And the whole Pesach Seder is about the child asking questions and the parent answering them. If the child doesn't know, somebody else asks. If you're sitting alone, you ask yourself. It's supposed to be a give and take. Okay? So we do this so that the child will ask. The plate, there are many different ways to arrange the plate. We're not going to get into that. Basically, look at the front of your Haggadah, look at the picture they have, and do what they do. Right? The Ramah, I'll quickly tell you the Ramah's version. The Ramah tells you that karpas should be closest to you, vinegar closer to you than the matzah, but further than the karpas. The matzah should be closer than the maror and the charoses, and that should be closer than the meat and the egg. Now, presumably he didn't have a circular plate. Right? We all have a circular plate and we put it around. The Ramah felt it should probably be a line. Okay, that's the Ramah's opinion. Again, ask your Rav, look at the front of your Haggadah. I think we generally go with the Arizal's version on this one, but check this, with your local Orthodox rabbi. The bone and the egg should both be roasted. They should both be roasted. If you're Sephardi, the egg should be cooked, not roasted. But if you're Ashkenaz, the egg should be roasted. And you don't eat them. You don't eat them at the Seder. The egg you can eat the next day. Really, that should be the second day, because since we're in Chutz La'aretz, we need a second Seder. So you can eat the egg, but you don't eat the shank bone. Maror, we'll get back to what exactly that is. Charoses because we're going to try to go in order. I know I mentioned them, but if you have questions on those, let's hold them until we get there in the actual Seder. The next thing we do is karpas. Okay? We wash our hands before we do the karpas. We don't make a bracha when we wash our hands for karpas. Karpas, you take a green. The prominent minhagim here are parsley, celery, and potato. If you have a different minhag, feel free to do that. But I believe those are the popular ones. Celery, parsley, or potato. You take a small piece, less than a kazayas. Less than a kazayas. We'll discuss exactly what a kazayas is, but a small piece. Don't take a lot. Take a small piece, less than a kazayas. Dip that in either salt water or vinegar. Make a bracha of bori pri hadama. Eat it. And since you didn't have a kazayas, you don't need to make a bracha achrona. You don't make the bracha of bar nefashos afterwards. When you make the bracha and you eat the karpas, have in mind that your bracha of bori pri hadama will cover the maror. Good. It will cover the maror. Even though maror is going to be eaten as part of the meal, and generally foods that are eaten as part of a meal don't need a bracha because the hamotzi covers them, maror might be different, and therefore keep the maror in mind when you make the bracha on the karpas. Okay? We're clear on karpas. So we did kiddush, we've done kadesh, we did urchatz, that's wash your hands before eating the karpas. Karpas, good. Yachatz. Yachatz is what? Breaking the middle matzah. Okay, we break the middle matzah. So remember you had 3 matzahs there. One of them is there so that it can be broken. The other 2 are there so that you can have lechem mishnah, because when you make hamotzi, Shabbos Yom Tov, you always need 2 loaves. So you take the middle matzah and you break it. And what do you do with the larger portion? You put it in something, a napkin, a pillowcase, whatever, the little thing your child brings home from school that's decorated. Right? You bring that, you put it in there, you hide it. It's become a game, and that's good because that keeps the children interested. Right? Either the parents hide it and the child has to look for it later, or the child hides it and the parents look for it later. But that's going to keep the kid awake and engaged in the Seder. That's good. There's no real mitzvah of that. But it's a mitzvah to keep the kids engaged. It's not a mitzvah to play hide and seek with the afikomen. Okay? You take the afikomen, you break it, you break the middle matzah, you hide part of it. Why do we do this? Why do we break the middle matzah? Why do we stick half of it back in between the other ones? We do this because matzah is called lechem oni, the bread, both the bread of affliction, the bread of words, and the bread of the poor man. And it is the custom of the poor man, right? Poor people who don't know when their next meal is coming, you ration. You break what you have. You eat a little bit now, and you save the rest for later. So, because we are lechem oni, it's the bread of the poor man, you save some of it for later. Okay?
Which one is that? The one you put back or the afikomen?
I think the idea of having the broken one, you put half of it back so that it's still there, and the afikomen is also, you'll bring it out later. Yeah. Okay, that's yachatz. Let's go to magid. Okay, we're making, I think, pretty good progress here. Alright, you lift the Seder plate. You lift the plate with the matzah. Right, that's the matzah and the plate. You lift the plate and you say halak ma'anya. You say that first opening paragraph. Whoever is hungry, come and this is the bread of affliction that our forefathers ate in Egypt. Whoever is hungry, come and join. Whoever is needy, come and join. This year we are here. Next year we will be in Israel. This year we are slaves. Next year we will be free. Right? And you recite from there until the manishtana. We often say manishtana. That's bad grammar. It's the manishtana. Either way, I'll probably say manishtana the rest of the night. So you do that up until you do that first paragraph. Okay? The Haggadah, this is very, very important. The Haggadah should be said in a language that you understand. That you and the people at your table will understand. The Halacha, I apologize, the Halacha says that women and children will understand. That's probably just because societally, women and children did not understand Hebrew and or Aramaic at whatever point the Halacha was being written. It's not like a sexist comment, it's just how society was. But if there's somebody at the table that doesn't speak Hebrew, read the Haggadah in English. If you don't speak English, read it in whatever language you like. You need to understand. If you know Hebrew but your children don't, or your guests don't, go with their language. It's important that you understand. Because the mitzvah of it is vihigadata. You need to tell the story. If I'm telling you a story and you don't understand it, I'm not a very good storyteller. And that's why I keep asking if everybody's understanding. And I'm taking breaks and I'm taking questions because I want to make sure that all of us are on the same page. If at the Pesach Seder I'm flying through my Hebrew, but the other people at my Seder don't understand it, there's no point. Okay, I mean there's a point. It's the mitzvah. You're fulfilling it really on the most basic level. But the Haggadah needs to be said in a language that you understand. Okay. So you lift up the plate, you uncover the matzahs, you lift the plate, you say the halach ma'anya. Then some of us cover the plate, some of us send it totally out of the room, some of us send it just to the end of the table, and that's done so that the children will ask. Because remember, they just saw this plate with your matzah and your little food, right, in a circle around the plate, and then before you eat it, you send it away. When's the last time you did that? At the beginning of a meal. So the kids are going to say, hey, that's weird, you didn't eat yet. Why are we sending the plate away? And you say, Avadim Hayinu, right? And you can start the story. And that's why we do this. We're trying to keep the children engaged. The whole Seder is geared towards keeping the... By the way, it's a fantastic lesson in education. Right? The Seder is not just the telling. Right? One of the halachos is that you're supposed to see yourself as though you left Egypt. The Sfardim actually have a minhag of putting the matzah on their shoulders, and they get up and they walk around the table. Right? It's an interactive event. Right? Teaching is not supposed to be entirely frontal, and you just sit there. And
why don't we do that?
certainly when it's kids, why don't the Ashkenazim do that? It's a good question. Look at the Rambam. We can talk about it. Okay, but it's beyond the scope a little bit. But the idea is we're trying to engage the children. We're doing all these weird things to keep everybody involved in what's going on. Okay. So we're just going to cover quickly the parts where you want to have the matzah lifted and the parts where you don't. Okay? This is probably in your Haggadah, but just in case. You lift the plate when you say halach ma'anya. As soon as you're done, you have the plate removed. You pour the second glass of wine. Okay? Again, the children are going to ask when you pour the second glass of wine, because why are you having a second glass before you've had any food? Also, kind of strange. We made a borei pri adama on karpas, but we're not making, and Meir is later even than the second glass, right? So if magid is a hefsek between the first glass and the second glass, why is magid not a hefsek between karpas and Meir? And the answer, in very, very, very short, is that the cups need to be drank in a specific order. The cups need to be drank. It has to be cup 1, then magid, then cup 2, and therefore magid is a break between cups 1 and cup 2. Right? Because you can't drink cup 2 until you finish magid. Before the Shulchan Aruch codified the halacha, but at the very basic level, maror can be eaten at any point that night. Maror does not have to be eaten at a specific point. And therefore, in theory, you could eat karpas and then right away eat maror. And therefore, magid didn't have to interrupt between them, and so it doesn't count as an interruption. If you want to hear that answer in a little bit more length, I suggest going to either Kosher Tube or YU Torah or Toronto Torah. I gave a shiur on this past, like a week and a half ago, Sunday. You can find it, and this was the basis of my shiur. Why magid is a hefsek between the first and the second cup, but not between magid, but between karpas and mar. So I encourage you to go check that out for the longer version of the answer, but that's the short answer. Let's move on. I don't want this year to go all night. I apologize. We're already okay. You wash your hands for motzi. That's clear. You wash your hands. Okay. We're done with magid. We finished magid. We drank the second cup. The next thing is magid rachta. Washing the hands. Motzi matzah. Okay. You need some motzi matzah. So there are two mitzvos there. There's the mitzvah of hamotzi lechem and aretz. That's one bracha, and the other thing is matzah, the alachilas matzah, the command to eat matzah this night. So what do? You pick up your 2.5 matzos. You make the bracha of hamotzi lechem min haaretz, because you need to have the 2 full ones when you make that bracha. You put down the bottom one, and then while holding the top and the broken middle one, you make the bracha of alachilas matzah. Okay, because the key part is the key to the alachilas matzah is the broken one, because the broken one is the lechem oni of Yaakov. So you make the bracha, and then you have to eat a kezayis of matzah while reclining. You want to take a piece of each of the 3 matzahs, a little of the top one, the middle one, and the bottom one, and then if everybody has their own, you're not going to have a problem. Otherwise, you supplement from just the box that you have on the side. You want to eat a kezayis of matzah. You want to eat it while reclining, and you want to eat it within a very short period of time. Dispute whether that's 4 or 9 minutes. You also want to eat the kezayis at once. That does not mean you need to swallow the whole thing at once. That does mean preferably you should try to get the whole kezayis into your mouth at once. So, you want to lean, you want to eat, chew, don't swallow, chew, 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 don't swallow, chew, chew, chew. When you're done, swallow. Okay? If you can't do it, it's okay. Just get it done in the time period. Don't worry about swallowing the whole thing at once. How much is a kezayis of matzah? How much matzah do you need to eat? I'm not going to go through the whole thing. In short, okay, because of the opinion of the Noda B'Yehuda, the Noda B'Yehuda suggested that our olives, our kezayis, zayit being olive, our olive is half the size of the halachic olive. Therefore, anytime you have a d'oraisa level, on a biblical level, you need to eat a kezayis of something, you actually need 2 kezisim, and anytime you need on a rabbinic level a kezayis, you only need to eat 1. The reason is because since our zayis is half the size of the real zayis, so when it's d'oraisa, when it's biblical and we're strict on things, you want to eat the larger size. When it's rabbinic, don't worry, you can use our zayis size. A kazayas is 1 ounce. A kazayas of solid is the amount that would displace 1 fluid ounce of liquid. Okay? That's what it is. That's about 30 milliliters, if I'm not mistaken. It's like 28 to 30 milliliters is 1 fluid ounce. Okay? So that means basically take a shot glass. The experiment would be done this way. Take a shot glass. Shot glasses are 1 ounce. Grind up whatever food it is you're dealing with, matzah in this case. Shove it into the shot glass. When you get to the top of the shot glass, that's a fluid ounce. Okay, that is the amount of food that would displace 1 fluid ounce. Right? That's basic science. So, how much is that so that you don't have to sit at your table doing this? I'll give you the generally approved measurements. If you are using hand matzah, which are the larger circular ones, a quarter of a hand matzah is 1 zayis. So, for motzi matzah, since that's biblical, you need to have 2 of those, because we're concerned that ours is only the half size. So, a quarter of a matzah twice is a half of a handmade matzah for motzi matzah. Okay? Half of a handmade matzah for motzi matzah, and if you're using machine matzah, 1 zayis is a third, and therefore for motzi matzah, when you need 2, because it's biblical, is 2/3. So, bottom line, when you are sitting there, you want to distribute to yourself and everybody at your table, either, for motzi matzah, you want it either a half of a hand or 2/3 of a machine. Okay? I'm not going through all the math. We can't do that. Okay, you want to eat them together. That's motzi matzah. Okay, make sure to recline while doing it. If you don't recline, you don't have to eat all the matzah again, but do recline. Okay, don't forget, recline.
Eat them together?
You want to eat the whole 2 kazesim together. You want to eat all those pieces. Half a matzah is not that much. It sounds daunting, but it's really not that much. 2/3 of a machine. Yeah, which is the same as half of a ham. Yeah, correct. I happen to just prefer ham. I think it tastes better. Machine tastes like cardboard. Okay, sorry, I shouldn't say that after the recordings. The machine is good too. I just prefer the taste of the ham. Okay, next. Maror. You take the maror. You submerge it in charoses. You shake off the charoses because you don't want to dull the taste of the maror. You then eat the maror. Maror needs to be chewed. Matzah, in theory, could just be swallowed without being chewed. Maror needs to be chewed. The reason maror needs to be chewed is because you need to feel the bitterness of the maror. What should you use for maror? The Shulchan Aruch lists 5 choices. I only know what the first 3 are. I don't know how to translate the other words. The first one is loosely translated as romaine lettuce. The second is endives. The third is horseradish root. Okay? Romaine lettuce, however, comes with considerable controversy. Because romaine lettuce is not bitter. Right? A lot of us use it, and it's really the preferable one, but it's not bitter. So, there's a whole discussion. The Gemara in the Yerushalmi says that if you leave it in the ground for longer, if you weren't to take it out at the right time, you left it in the ground longer, it would become bitter. And therefore, it counts as bitter. So the Chazon Ish says that's crazy. Leave it in the ground for longer, and it'll become bitter. And then it's maror. If it didn't become bitter, it's not bitter. Leave it alone. That's what a joke. So the Chazon Ish on this one is not accepted. In Bnei Brak, where he had lived, he is accepted. They don't use romaine unless they leave it in the ground longer. However, we generally don't. Most of us tend to use romaine lettuce for maror. How much romaine lettuce do you need to make a kazayas? Just go with me on this one.
You need a kazayas?
Yes, you need a kazayas of maror. You need a kazayas of maror. Why do you need a kazayas of maror? Because the smallest halachically defined amount of food is a kazayas. Anytime you have to do a mitzvah of eating, it has to be a kazayas. Okay?
That's a lot of pushback.
It's 1 fluid ounce. It's not that much. I don't know. So use romaine. Romaine, if you're using romaine, stalks, leaves, whatever, if you're using romaine, it's 8 by 10 inches, which is 20.3 by 25.4. They have those little charts. You'll see them in a lot of the Judaica stores. It's like a little plastic laminated thing that's all colorful and whatnot. Take your leaves, cover that thing, and that's how much you need. Okay? Yeah.
Why you said the maror we have to have it in charoset?
Yeah.
I never did that before. Can you explain that?
Maror is supposed to be done with charoset. Why? Good question. So, charoset is that red thick, pasty stuff. Okay, so it's supposed to resemble a whole bunch of things. It's supposed to remember the mortar to remind you of the mortar or the brick, so it should be thick and pasty. It's supposed to remind you of the blood, is why it's supposed to be red. But that's actually why a lot of the halacha says you're supposed to be thick, and then right before you eat it, you pour wine on it, so that it becomes much more liquidy, so that it's like the blood. It's also supposed to remind us of the pasuk that says tachas tapuach or articha. Tapuach here does not mean apple. Biblical tapuach means a citrus, and therefore it should be made out of citrus fruit. It's also supposed to have lots of different parts, things that the Bnei Yisrael are compared to, which are citrus fruit, the tapuach, the pomegranate, where I lost my notes here. Okay, compared to tapuach, figs, pomegranate, nuts, almonds, and you're supposed to add spices like cinnamon. Okay, that's the halachic recipe for charoses. Do whatever your father did. That's fine. As far as why, so it's supposed to be a remembrance for those things. The reason we put it on the maror is because, again, we want to remind ourselves of all those things. The reason specifically on maror is because the maror used to have worms in it. The worms were poisonous. If you submerge it in the charoses, the worms die and they are no longer poisonous. You have removed the venom of the worm, and therefore you would submerge it in charoses. But then you would shake all the charoses off, because then you would if you didn't shake the charoses off, you would taste charoses. You wouldn't taste bitter maror. So you shake it all off, and then you eat your maror. If you're using horseradish, it's much harder, because if the horseradish is ground, I'm not really sure how you can submerge that and then shake it all off. I've never quite figured that one out. I'm also not sure why nobody uses choice 2 for maror. The popular ones we use for maror are romaine lettuce and the ground horseradish root. I'm not sure why nobody uses endives, which seems to be the second choice.
Maybe it wasn't available.
Right, but now it is. I mean, they are. It seems that it might not be the actual endive that we get when we go to the market. Not that I know what an endive is, but it's
like it's like a lettuce.
It's like a thing, right? I'm sure I've seen it in the store, and when it has the little sign, it says endive. But if somebody asked me off the record, what is an endive? I'd say I have no idea. And there are a lot of vegetables I can't point out. It seems endives actually are bitter, which is why, right, they're bitter. And horseradish root isn't bitter either. Horseradish root is sharp. It's not bitter, which is the problem with horseradish root. So basically there's a problem with all of them, so just go with the romaine. If you want the sharpness, go with the horseradish, but it seems romaine is actually the optimal choice. Okay?
Does it have to be ground, or can it just be cut out?
The bitter what?
Horseradish.
The horseradish, you should grind it. You want to grind the root. Apparently the root would be way too intense. I think that's the reason we grind it. Yeah, they say to grind the root. Yeah, you grind the root and can actually leave it open for a little while. You don't want to totally lose, all the sharpness of the root by, doing it 3 days early and leaving it open, because then you won't feel anything. But yeah, I don't think you have to have the root itself. I think you can have ground root, and the reason for that is because the root is way too sharp. But again, it seems from consultation with the Rabbanim in the area, the optimal way is the romaine.
And so it's just a piece of romaine.
It's that size, 8 by 10 inches, 20.3 by 25.4 centimeters.
8 by 10 sheet of romaine. Where do you get 8 by 10 sheets of romaine?
No, meaning you take enough pieces that you cover that. No, I'm sorry, Sandy. Yeah. You don't need one piece of romaine that's 8 by 10. You need enough romaine to cover the area of 8 by 10. Yeah, sorry, that was unclear. Okay. Next, you do korech, the sandwich. You take some of the matzah from the third matzah. That's when the third matzah gets used. You take some of the third matzah. You then put some maror on that. You put a little charoset on. You dip that in the charoses. Some say not to dip. You say the paragraph of Zecher L'Mikdash Kehillel, because this was the minhag of Hillel, and you eat the korech while reclining. Okay. This sandwich needs a kazayas of matzah and a kazayas of maror. Okay, the kazayas of matzah on this one, however, is only rabbinic in nature, and therefore you can use 1/3 or 1/4 as opposed to 1/2 or 2/3. See the discussion earlier on matzah, but you can use the one kazayas. You can use the nowadays kazayas as opposed to the olden days kazayas, because it's rabbinic in nature. Okay, you need to do that. From when you make hamotzi on the matzah, until you eat the maror and you finish the korech, don't have an interruption. If you need to ask the person next to you to pass you the maror, that's not an interruption. If you need to get up and get more matzah out of the box, that's not an interruption. But don't start talking about the weather, sports, whatever, that is an interruption. Don't just sit and wait and let time pass, that's an interruption. From matzah, maror, and korech need to be done in rapid succession. Okay? That's motzi matzah, maror, korech. Shulchan Aruch, eat. Don't eat too much, because you need to be able to eat the afikomen in a little bit. And the afikomen is the double kazayas. Over the course of the night, you're having 5 kazayases. 5 of them nowadays. 2, because you need the double at motzi matzah. 1 for korech, and 2 more at afikomen, because that's also biblical in nature. Okay? So, don't eat too much at the meal. Also, the halacha is we do not have roasted foods. We do not have roasted meat. Meat here includes meat, chicken, turkey, whatever. We try not to have roasted foods at the Seder. You can have roast egg and fish. Okay, we don't have roast meat at the Seder. Any other food is really just fine. That's the Ashkenaz custom.
You cannot have a roasted chicken?
You really should not have roast chicken on the Seder night.
People have roasted turkey on the table.
Yeah, so
how can
to each their own custom.
Against the halakha?
It's not the halacha, it's the minhag. It's the custom. It seems it's the prevalent custom.
How would you cook it on the stove?
Don't you just put liquid on it?
Yeah, on the stove. On the stove is fine. The stove would probably be roasting. Depends how you make it. I don't really know. Roasting is over an open flame, right? Roasting is an open flame?
The roasting is oven.
Roasting is when you have it on a...
It's like a spit, right? It's like a barbecue. It's like roasting.
Yeah, no, something around is...
Okay. Some are really short. Boiled chicken is just fine.
No, it's roasting. No,
You don't want to have...
Roasting is in the oven.
I roast with water with the...
Okay, so here's what I'm going to suggest. Before we get bogged down with all the, go ask somebody who knows both halacha and cooking and find out what you can and can't do. I don't know enough about cooking to be able to tell you what is and what is not halachically considered roasting.
You're telling me that
you can't. I'll tell you this. Wait. I'll tell you this. You shouldn't have roasted chicken on the Pesach night during the Seder. What is called roasted chicken? I don't know.
You cannot have for roasted chicken.
You should not. Yes, to the best of my knowledge, in the places. Okay, here's how I'll read the whole progression. Some have a custom to not eat roasted food. Some have a custom. Okay, some have a custom that you can. Some have a custom specifically not to.
I'm assuming it's because you're not having a korban, so you don't
Correct.
have to roast it.
Therefore, you don't want roasted. Correct. The Ashkenaz minhag, our custom is to not eat any roasted food on the Seder night. In places that you don't roast meat on the Seder night, you can't roast even cow or chicken meat. You can't roast those on the Seder night. The Mishnah Brura, who we tend as Ashkenazim to follow, anything that is slaughtered cannot be roasted on the Seder night. Egg and fish can be roasted because you can never confuse those with the Karban Pesach. Now, for discussion on what is called roasting, please see somebody who knows more about the kitchen than I do. I can't answer the question because I don't really know. But you can't roast chicken for the Seder night. That much I can tell you. Okay? It could be that the minhag is not this way here. It could be the minhag is not this way in a lot of places. This is, I know, certainly how I grew up. I don't know what to tell
What did
you.
you have for dinner when you grew up?
Meatballs. I always remember meatballs at the Seder. No, we had meatballs.
Brisket?
It was usually brisket.
So brisket is a roasted meat?
No, brisket is a cooked meat. I was under the impression. Right? Brisket is
Roasted in the oven.
So I don't think anything that goes in the oven. I don't think anything that goes in the oven is called roasted.
Fine.
I think roasting is dry heat.
Right. If it's
Right?
liquid.
Right? Liquid and heat is called cooking. I think. Again, check with somebody who knows a little bit more about the kitchen than me.
You can't
but
cook it dry, you have to cook it
Right.
wet.
Correct. I'm pretty sure that roasting is dry heat.
Right.
Is dry heat to a dry food. I mean, there's probably some flavor in basting or whatever, but cooking with a liquid is called cooking. Is not called roasting. I think. Again, check with your local chef who's also a Rav.
What is the reason behind it?
Because the Karban Pesach, the Paschal lamb, was roasted. It needed to be eaten roasted. And since we no longer have a Paschal lamb, and even actually when we did have the Paschal lamb, you couldn't eat other roasted foods lest people think that it was the Paschal lamb. Okay?
So that means you can't eat Paschal lamb at that time of the year, or you have to...
Well, Paschal from Pesach, I apologize. Right, there was a thing called the Karban Pesach, right, the Pesach offering. That was a lamb. You would take a lamb or a goat kid, and you would shecht it, and you would roast it, and you would eat it. That was right back in the day. Right, this was the big mitzvah of Pesach back in the time of the temple. We no longer have a temple, unfortunately, and we no longer have karbanos. We no longer have animal sacrifice and offerings. Therefore, we no longer eat roasted meat on the Seder night as a remembrance of that. Right? In deference to the fact that was what we used to eat on the Seder night when we had the Beis HaMikdash, when we had the temple. These days we don't eat roast meat on the Seder night. Roast egg is fine. Roast fish is fine. Roast meat, cow, chicken, turkey, goat, whatever, right? Beef, anything, right? Anything that is slaughtered. The Mishnah Berurah says any food that is slaughtered, any food that has shechita, should not be eaten roasted on the Seder night. Okay? Some people have the custom to eat eggs at the Seder. Okay, I've seen this in a lot of places. Some people have the custom to have an egg at the Seder. Egg and salt water, correct. There are a lot of reasons for this. One is because the 9th of Av falls out on the same day of the year same day of the week, as Pesach. The first night of Pesach and the 9th of Av are the same night of the week. And there's a whole cute thing called Atbash. I think Nathaniel talked about it in his shir last night. Either way, you can find it in places. We're not going to go through that now. Or it's a remembrance of the Karban Chagiga. There was another Karban that was brought. But just remember, eating eggs on Pesach is only a minhag. Don't fill up on them. It's more important that at your meal you have proper food, meat, because a halachic meal is defined by meat. And it is more important that you save some space for the afikoman later. Don't fill up on the eggs. The afikoman. After you finish dinner,
What if you're lactose intolerant and you can't have no dairy, like eggs and...
Well, dairy isn't... eggs aren't dairy. If you can't have eggs, then don't have eggs. It's a custom.
Well, I know, and I've been to many places.
If you don't like eggs, don't eat eggs. Right? Okay. The afikoman. We're nearing the end here. The afikoman, after the meal, you take the hidden matzah, that piece that you had put away earlier, and everybody eats a kazayas of that. This is the double kazayas. So this is either half of a machine, half of a hand, or 2/3 of a machine, because afikoman is doraisa.
So how do you pull that off from half of this piece of machine matzah?
You make up the rest of it from the box.
So everybody gets a little bit, and then you make up the rest.
Correct. But you want to eat a kazayas. It should be eaten without a bracha. It should be eaten while reclining to the left, and it should be eaten before midnight. Midnight in Toronto these days is probably about, Chatos Halayla is probably about 1 p.m. Okay, check that with your local rabbi.
1:22.
There you go, 1:22. That was close. Right? Okay, about 1:22 p.m. Make sure to finish the afikoman before 1:22 p.m. You should also try to do Hallel, which is after benching, also before 1:22, also before midnight. That's basically the afikoman. Okay? Eat it while reclining, eat the double kazayas, and eat it before midnight. Then you bench. You can't eat anything else after the afikoman. The afikoman is the last thing we eat that night. Okay? Don't eat anything else. We should also try to refrain from drinking anything other than water and the other 2 glasses after the afikoman also, because we want the taste of the afikoman to linger. We want the taste of the afikoman as a remembrance of the Karban Pesach, so we don't eat anything after that. You bench. Right? After we finish the meal, you say Birkat HaMazon, you bench. You do that with a kos, with a glass, with the 3rd cup of wine. Okay? Even though normally during the year a lot of us don't always bench with a kos, we don't always have a cup of wine when we do Birkat HaMazon, on Pesach we specifically do. You should try to have a zimun. You try to have 3 adult males there during benching. That means that think about it in advance and make sure to have 3 adult meals there for the Seder. Okay? Which brings us to another idea, but I don't have the time to get into it. So you do that, drink that.
How do you have to taste the afikoman if you have 2 glasses of wine?
You need to have the 2 glasses of wine, so don't have anything else, is basically the answer. Do as little as you can, right? Or do as much as you can to not remove the taste of afikoman. It's a good question. Once you have 2 glasses of wine, afikoman taste is not going to be in your mouth. Correct. Okay. You should make sure to have 3 people for benching. The head of the household leads benching even if there's a guest. The custom is for the head of the household to lead, even though normally you can ask somebody else to lead. On Pesach night, you should lead yourself. You still can ask somebody else, but Pesach night, lead yourself. You don't have to be strict about this minhag, but that's the minhag. After benching, you do Hallel. Okay, you do Hallel. You want to have 3 people for Hallel. That's because there's a part of the Hallel. We do more than the regular Hallel that we do on like Rosh Chodesh and Shabbat and Yom Tov morning in Shul. We do what's called the Hallel Hagadol. That's the Hodil Hashem Kitovs. Okay, there's on Shabbos morning. I'm sure we've all noticed that there's that long paragraph. Hodil Hashem Kitov, Kilon Chasto, right? Kilon Chasto, 26 times. So you're supposed to do that responsively. The head of the household says the first line, and then everybody says Kilon Chasto. And then he says the next one, Kilon Chasto, third, Kilon Chasto, and so on. So you need to have people that can repeat. For this, you don't need 3 adult males, you just need 3 people. They don't have to be adults, they don't have to be males, it doesn't matter. One person says, the other 2 respond. The Hallel, this is a very long Hallel. The Ashkenaz minhag is like this. I'm not going to do the Sfarad minhag because it's just going to confuse you, and we all said before we're all Ashkenaz. So, here's what you do. You say the regular Hallel, you start from Lo Lanu, which is the 3rd paragraph of Hallel, because the first 2 we had said earlier as part of Magid already. You start from Lo Lanu. You go until Yehalalucha. You say the paragraph of Yehalalucha, which is the last paragraph of Hallel. You do not say the bracha at that point. You then say the Hallel Hagadol, which is the Kiryon Pastos. Then you say Nishmas through Yishtabach, which is what we say generally Shabbos morning at the end of Pesukei Zimra. Nishmat, Hakel, Shochinad, and then I'm missing one, and then Yishtabach. Thank you. Okay, you do that till Yishtabach, and then you make Yishtabach's bracha. So you never actually make the bracha that's always found at the end of Hallel. You say Lo Lanu till Yehalalucha, don't say the bracha, say the Hallel Hagadol, that long paragraph of the Kilon Pastos, Nishmat till Yishtabach, and Yishtabach's bracha. Okay? After that, you drink the 4th cup of wine. We'll discuss that in 1 second. And then we sing songs and liturgical hymns. That's Nirza, by the way, in English. I just like the word liturgical hymn. When you drink the 4th glass of wine, which is done at the end of Hallel, you want to recline to your left again. If you don't recline, don't worry about it, but you should try to recline. Following the 4th glass of wine, that's when we make the bracha achrona. We make the bracha achrona of Al Hagefen at that point. Then we say Shefoch HaMascha. That's the paragraph of, basically divinely retribute from the nations that have, angered you and stood against the Jews and whatever. We open the door before we say that. The reason we open the door before we say that is to show that we are not afraid. Pesach is known as a Leil Shimurim, a night of protection. God is protecting us, more so than in general. There's like a super protection on Pesach night, and therefore we can open the door. It's like midnight, remember, right? If you're rushing to eat afikomen before midnight, which this year is 1:22 in Toronto, right? So Shvoch HaMascha is still a few minutes after that, because you're just on Hallel. So it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. You don't generally open your door and just go outside and start reciting things at 2 a.m. On Pesach night, you can do that without fear, because it's the Leil Shimurim.
We're supposed to have the door unlocked before midnight.
Yes, that people could theoretically come in. Okay. You drink the 4th cup. After drinking the 4th cup, you don't want to have anything else to drink. The reason for that is, 1, so that the matzah taste doesn't leave your mouth more than it already has, but 2, we certainly don't want you drinking more wine. The reason we want you drinking more wine is because you get drunk. If you get drunk, you can't stay up all night and talk about the story of Yetzias Mitzrayim, which is the next mitzvah. The thing you're supposed to do after the Seder ends is stay up, learn the halachos of Pesach, tell the story, ask questions, give answers until sleep overtakes you. That's what you're supposed to do. How you want to define sleep overtakes you, that's up to you, ask your rabbi, but the halacha is stay up until sleep overtakes you. The night of Pesach, we do not say the Shema Alamita, the Shema before you go to sleep. There's like a whole bunch of paragraphs there. You say Shema, you say the Bracha of Hamakil, and then there's also generally a whole bunch of other paragraphs. We don't say those other paragraphs on Pesach night, again, because it's Leil Shimurim, it's a night of protection. There's crept into a lot of the Haggadahs the custom of counting on the second night, of course, counting Sfira. Counting, that's redundant. Counting the Omer, doing Sfiras HaOmer at the Seder. I don't know, that probably came up because if you count Omer in shul, right, as part of Mariv on the second night, then you're saying it's the 16th of Nisan. If you then go home and have a Seder, you're saying it's the 15th of Nisan, and that's called a contradiction. So therefore, a minhag developed to not say the Omer during Mariv, but rather to say it at the Haggadah. I would encourage everybody to say it at Mariv, because otherwise you're going to forget. And if you forget on the first night, you're going to feel really foolish, right? If you forget on like the sixth night, fine, you forgot. But on the first night, that's a little sad. So don't do that. You don't want to forget on the first night. So say Sfira at Mariv. Worst case, if not, you'll probably notice a little reminder in your Haggadah when it says, say Sfira here. Okay? That's basically it. And then we sing Nirtza, we sing all those songs. We do that really just to give praise to God, to give some extra praise there. When those songs are introduced in the Haggadah, I'm not really sure. It's definitely late, a lot of them. And then you're supposed to stay up. You stay up all night. Everything that applies on the first night applies to the second night because it's Seka Diyoma, it's just a repetition. And that's basically it. And you should stay up all night and deal with the halachos and the story until sleep overtakes you. We mentioned that we do not have the Beis HaMikdash. We mentioned we do not have a Korban Pesach. We mentioned that some of these shiurim are Doraisa, some are Darabanan, biblical, rabbinic, because really all for that same reason. I hope, and I bless all of us, that God willing in the coming days, in the next 6 days before Pesach, and certainly after that, if not already tomorrow, we should see Mashiach, and we should be able to celebrate Pesach as it was meant to be celebrated with the Korban Pesach in the Beis HaMikdash from here, Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Wow.